soll das? Lovely Saturday, midday, meeting Spicy and Renner in a minute. And as you can see, it's a busy day already. I don't want to drive to Gunwharf Quays today. Like last weekend when Spicy escaped Portsmouth, it's exactly the same. So these people, they think, oh, we can spend a nice day in Gunwharf Quays or at the beach or wherever, but effectively, they spend half the day in a traffic jam. Oh, yesterday I had a really interesting thought while watching a dog play ball. Yeah, so my initial thought was, it's a good thing if you can be entertained by a simple play. I mean, and the dog, he might be maximum 7 to 10 years old. So his, it's hard for me to explain. So his mind, the age of his mind, will only develop for 7 years. So he might still be at the state of an infant, you know what I mean? So if you then think of animals that are getting really, really old, for example, elephants or turtles, would they be wise, so to say? Could they be really wise? Could they develop skills like humanity has done that takes them to the moon? If you ignore the brain size, because it's proven that you cannot do that with a really small brain. For example, a bird couldn't do rocket science because the brain of a bird is highly specialized. It needs to react pretty quickly. All the calculations have to be done very, very quickly because flying is very complicated. So the brain is pretty small, so it doesn't have too much capacity, but it's really, really quick. It's much like an embedded system in a microcontroller, more or less. Imagine an elephant would be able to develop skills of mind that would allow him to do rocket science. So next then is, how does he collaborate with his other elephants? Yeah? And then we get to the point of speech. How important speech is for the success of a species. Speech and writing. If you don't have speech, you cannot transport complicated thoughts, like an inception, so to say. So it's hard to work together and discuss complicated ideas, because an elephant could do like, they say, yeah, okay, I understand, we must put the nitrogen in here. Yeah, no, you get what I mean? Also, if you only have speech, the only way of keeping your ideas within your culture, within your species, is by talking to each other. And by talking to each other, well, that's not very accurate, is it? You might forget stuff, stuff might be changing. So the only way to properly document everything is writing it down. So writing is another very important thing for persistent development of a culture or species. Okay, but in order to do a lot of research and stuff, it consumes a lot of time. So if you spend most of your day hunting for food, you don't have much time to think about stuff. You will have to find a more efficient way to find food or to store food. It's even more important. I'm pretty sure a friend of mine told me that's the reason, because the Egyptian culture was so successful, because they were able to do agriculture and then store large amounts of crops. They would have a lot of crops for a long time, and they wouldn't be worried about getting food every day, and so they could spend a lot of time on research, etc. It's an interesting thought, isn't it? What determines the success of a species? Well, success doesn't necessarily mean to be able to do rocket science or fly to the moon or be able to conquer other planets. I mean, bacteria, or say ants, simplest thing, they are really successful too. They would survive an atomic war, or cockroaches. So it all depends on your viewpoint. What do you consider success? But in terms of achievements on top of your everyday living, I think these are the three main points: speech, writing, and a constant stream of food, so you can spend time. And of course, age, getting old. It's interesting how all that thought, all that chain of thoughts were triggered by a dog playing ball. I hope this wasn't too complicated for you to follow. I'm really having a hard time expressing myself in my non-native language, but I think you get the message. Well, I think the next video will be less complicated, less verkopft, how we say in German, and I'll see you on the next one. See you guys. It's harder to get the sound right with Enduro or open-face helmets. I'm getting to the point now, so the microphone is inside my goggles.